Are we gonna get the space colony arc at all? Because I haven't seen it referenced in this trailer whatsoever. And now he proceeds to body everybody. This is, I mean, we knew this was gonna happen. Now it's interesting that he is alive. So this is the plot point that I think kind of bothers me the most. I see people complain that Amy or Rouge should be in the movie to make it better. Do you believe that too? I think, so here's my thing. Welcome to the stream. Let's get started. Let's do this. Trailer looks great, but where are all the girl characters? Yeah. So I have my thoughts on that. So let's just get through this first, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
Sonic, you finally found your family.
Try to keep up.
So I'm already stopping, but first thing, Sonic's running through a forest, so I'm pretty sure this is Green Hill still. I like the little loop-de-loop. Actually, this is probably like through the log. Logs have been here as far like as early as Sonic the Hedgehog 2, like the Sega Genesis game. There's like a aquatic ruin zone that has a log. I'm not saying that's a reference to this, but it's like that plus a loop-de-loop, so it could be. You know, you never know what these directors are thinking. Jeff Fowler is my dog. He knows his stuff. Trust me.
You finally found your family.
Try to keep up.
Now, I see Knuckles sporting his firepower. Now, if you guys did not watch the Knuckles series, I don't blame you if you didn't, because it wasn't for everybody. But I did watch the mini-series. It's like a mini movie. I think, like, to be honest, if you tailor your expectations knowing that you're not going in for any heavy lore, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't great either. But this is a power that's unlocked. It's called the Flames of Disaster, which is a reference to Sonic 06. For some reason, he has this power, and he unlocks it during that series. I'm not going to explain anything else. There's not a lot of context to it, but if you want to go watch that series, go watch it. But they're bringing that new power into this movie, which I think is a cool little addition. I think we're going to get a lot more Knuckles, though we need some Tails action, like ASAP. Let's see, haha, Knuckles launched from London because it's Idris. Am I right? Am I right? Okay, so let's keep it moving.
I know it hasn't always been easy, but you didn't change.
For some reason, I thought this was a child. Okay, so this is what Sonic drew. It's him in Long Claw and Green Hill, or the other Green Hill, like the actual Green Hill. So there's that.
But you didn't change who you are in here.
Yeah, in my lungs.
Or your heart.
In my lungs. Okay, so we get a shot of Prison Island there. If you guys need context for Sonic Adventure 2, this is the location where, is this where he busted out Shadow? I have to remember now. Oh, yes. Okay, so Eggman busts into Prison Island first to go find Shadow in here, but it looks like Shadow is busting himself out instead of Eggman doing it this time, which is a huge change in the plot for Sonic Adventure 2. I'm going to be talking about little plot changes between the movie and the game, whether I like them or not. This I'm neutral on. By the way, I have my little Sonic Symphony baton. By the way, I went to this one in New York. Freaking amazing. Anyway, so we have a Prison Island here. I guess Robotnik's not gonna go in there to bust out Shadow, which is a difference in plot. I'm neutral on this, but let's keep going.
There's been a high-level security breach.
Now, if you see here, interestingly enough, there's a donut box, which I might be reading too much into this, but I think that Tom, aka Donut Lord, might be an employee of Gun at some point, so they might hire him as, like, seeing that he met with that Gun Chief initially in the Sonic movie, in Sonic 2, they probably will recruit him, and then they deploy the Team Sonic on these missions when necessary, if extraterrestrial activity or Robotnik like starts popping up. So I think for this, what's happening is either this is just a box here, or this could be Tom while this goes down. We have yet to know, but I think Tom has definitely been promoted as a gun soldier. Quote me on that one. I know this. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure. This trailer was amazing. I'm so hyped for this. So I'm gonna keep going.
been a high-level security breach. And we
All right,
need
so we got
Team
Shadow
Sonic's
busting
immediate
out now.
assistance. Project Shadow. And we need Team Sonic's immediate
We need Team Sonic's immediate assistance. So like what I didn't notice the first time around, they're using rings to deploy them. I mean, that's obvious thing. So like Sonic has all these rings now. I don't know where he's getting more from. Or maybe he's collecting them once he uses them. I remember it was a huge plot point in the first movie that he had only so many rings to jump around and teleport to other planets. But now he's just flinging them out like it's nothing. So maybe now like he can reuse those rings as long as they're on Earth, or they collect them or something like that. I don't know what the deal is with that. Maybe Knuckles knows a way to get more. I don't know. But it shows that they're deploying them through those rings. Number two, Sonic and team seem like they are now heroes now that are like deployed for certain engagements. It reminds me of Transformers a lot, actually. When Optimus Prime was all good, then they just went ahead and deployed them anywhere, anytime like other Transformers like popped up. So it's like, this is a Transformers level threat. So I think this is similar to what's going on here.
Sonic's immediate assistance. Project
And you have Tails flying the helicopter. Give Tails the tornado, bruv. Where? I think by the end of this movie, I need Tails to have at least the cyclone or the tornado too. But yeah, I guess this is fitting.
assistance. Project Shadow is far beyond anything
Shadow, okay.
we've ever encountered.
Shadow has so much detail. So much detail that when he's put next to Sonic, it's almost humiliating. But I'll get to that in a minute. Clearly, they wanted him to stand out and shine, which is great. What a glow up for this model. I mean, considering the end credits was kind of like a restructured Sonic, so I'm glad that they spent time getting this right. I think this looks amazing. That's just my point here. The glowing eyes is a good touch, just like Sonic when he gets all powered up. Now, the difference here, well, okay, I'll leave that to the end. But I love the, like, all the shine and the more rigid fur and the kicks. Come on now.
Anything we've ever encountered.
Shadow's story began a lot like your Sonic, but where you found
All right, so we do have we have confirmed Maria.
your Sonic.
For some, okay, so it's a meme. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I'm not like a fan of the idea that, oh, she's gonna get shot and it's gonna be a PG movie where we've seen freaking Mufasa fall from a cliff while his son is screaming in the background in a PG movie, and you're worried about this little girl getting shot. I mean, we've seen some horrid deaths. We saw Littlefoot's mother die in a huge, what was it, a meteor shower? I can't remember. There were so many like heart-clenching Disney deaths in the past that this just doesn't, I don't understand why this is a huge meme. It doesn't seem like a big deal to me. But of course, Sonic fans are going to be in there cheering when she dies, and it's so like, it's such a stupid thing. It's so stupid, but at the same time, whatever. Go have your fun. Have your meme. I just don't understand the meme here. It's like, we're definitely shooting 14-year-olds in this. It's such a weird meme. But I thought she died from, oh yes, Littlefoot's mother died from a T-Rex, which is even more gruesome than getting shot. She's getting bit up, saving her son. I'm tired of seeing all these. Those scenes used to traumatize me. Now Maria getting shot like by a stray, catching it. Well, not really a stray. It's like, I love how Sonic X did it, where the gun soldier was freaked out by her hand being on the console that he just instinctively shot because he didn't know what she was doing. I love that rather than just some guy coming in and just exterminating the whole place. But at the same time, I don't know. What do you guys prefer? I don't know if she's gonna go out this way though, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
But where you found family and friends, Shadow.
Okay, so I like this scene. Not much to say here. This is like their peak looks here. Tails looks amazing. I think all of them are gonna have these glowing eyes. I saw a theory where each of their powers are gonna be related to the Chaos Emeralds, and then at some point it's gonna be 7 people from Sonic's world, or like 7 aliens. So if you guys know, like they all come from different worlds essentially. Not everyone. I think Sonic and Knuckles are from the same world, but Tails is from a different planet in this lore. The movie lore is very weird. It's like very scattered. It's such a mixture of the games and like the comics, but now it's become its own thing. So I'm gonna let you know whether I like this or not. But yeah, they're not all from the same planet, which is not really my thing. But there's a theory going around that each of them have a corresponding chaos power that goes along with them. I don't know if that's even a thing anymore, like considering the lore from Sonic 2, but we'll see. But they're all very special people with that same power. So does it mean there's just a ton of aliens out there that just, well, they do, okay, so they do reference Earth as like a backwater planet. That's what Tails calls it. So I want them to go to space, man. Like, go visit. There's so many other planets you can explore. So much more potential with this universe. Just my opinion here. All right, let me continue. How many Sonic universes are there? There's several at this point. But if you want to talk about like the active ones right now, you have the game ones. You have Sonic Prime, which I think is deactivated now. Nobody really talks about that one anymore. Now that the show's over. There's Sonic Boom, which is, that show's over now too. You have the comics, which has now been fused with the game world. So the game and the comics are one and the same, but no game has like really solidified that as of yet. But they did reference comic book characters in Sonic Frontiers at the very end. So I think they're getting there. I think they're trying to figure out how to sort that out. So those two I think are one and the same. And then you have the movies. Of course you have the old cartoons, but I'm not gonna get into that. There's way too many. There's way too much.
Friends.
Anyway, peak models right there. That little shot right here. I think this is when the three of them look their best. Come on now. Right here. I think this is great. The colors really stand out. Great choice in just being in the green background. The green is such a good contrast with the three of them. And I think this is the best that they've looked. Sonic looks a little bit iffy later on, and I'll show you that.
Shadow found only pain and loss.
All right, we got a rogue alien on the loose.
All right, so we have Maria. This looks like Gerald and Shadow. This is definitely a dead Maria with gun soldiers approaching. So it looks like she was taken out in an explosion. Maybe. It's just a little strange that they're sitting there. Looks like they're praying over her, but maybe they're just mourning. Maybe it's just like it just happened just in this moment. So I don't know if they're going to retaliate, how they're going to, how do these gun soldiers capture Shadow? I'm curious how they're going to change the lore, but this is a little bit, this looks like a little bit of a change. Are we going to get the space colony arc at all? Because I haven't seen it referenced in this trailer whatsoever. That's what I'm curious about. Has the arc been cut? That's a heavy cut if that's the case.
All right, we got a rogue alien on the loose. How do we find it?
Start with a giant fireball?
I love it. Let's start with a giant fireball.
All right, so I'm going to let this part run, and then I'm going to go back. So let's start here.
He is much more impressive than the hedgehog I fought previously.
Dude, I'm standing right here.
You're a colorful bunch.
Interesting intro for Shadow.
We don't want to fight you.
Actually, Sonic, I would like to fight.
No, no!
And now he proceeds to body everybody. This is... I mean, we knew this was going to happen.
Can we just talk about this?
Okay, so that scene is spectacular. I kind of wish it was just him and Sonic one-on-one. But I guess it's meant to reference the whole scale of his power, which is okay. I don't know. I would have loved like a standoff similar to the game, but I think we're going to get that. But this is probably first meeting. We all knew Sonic was going to get bodied in some type of way. Now, his model looks spectacular all throughout. I think every shot of Shadow looks really good. Him walking up like this, the shoes, the lighting, the flames, everything looks great to me. And it makes these three kind of look weak. I feel like they put in all the effort into Shadow in this scene and kind of dimmed down Sonic's model a little bit.
He is much more impressive than the hedgehog I fought previously.
And then I didn't like the joke here, but whatever, it's fine. They get bodied after.
I'm standing right here.
You're a colorful bunch.
We don't want to fight you.
Actually, Sonic, I would like to fight.
Now this is great. That's like pretty much 1-to-1 with the game. He starts using chaos control. Now is he doing it without a chaos emerald? That's another thing. I doubt he is actually. So it looks like his powers are going to be baked in like the rest of the group.
My turn.
I love how he teleports in to go body Tails first. And I love that. Ow! It's amazing. That's.
Can we just...
Could I see that one more time?
My turn. Can we just talk about this?
Oh man, that's funny. Sonic's like, my turn. He's like, nah, Tails first. Someone asked me, let's see, I see people complain, Digital Dog, welcome. I see people complain that Amy or Rouge should be in the movie to make it better. Do you believe that too? I think, so here's my thing. You have to make a Sonic movie for the fans, right? But can the fans 100% hold this up? I think every Sonic fan out here is going to watch this and support it. But you cannot... I think they don't want to overwhelm it with a certain amount of characters. And I think being in the human world is what's stopping them from doing that. This wouldn't have been an issue if they went back to the original world or Sonic's planet and they start introducing more characters there, because then now you have the focus on them. But they have all these actors that they're paying for this movie and they have to give them their face time. Much like any like superhero movie where they like, you see Spider-Man land and take off his mask to show it's Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland or whoever. They do that because the actor needs his face in the movie, and which, you know, like it's not a necessity. I feel like it's a marketing thing. But similar to that, you have all these players that are in here and all these original characters. So if you brought in a Rouge, how would you write that in at this point? Or if you brought in an Amy, what purpose would Amy serve if she's not introduced already? So, and then that could overshadow Shadow would overshadow Amy, much like Knuckles overshadowed Tails in the last movie, in my opinion. I think Tails got screen time, but not enough. Not enough character development. I was hoping that maybe Tails will be able to kind of like claim some time here, but I doubt it. So that's going to be the problem. So if you introduce Amy or Rouge, what would they do? And how would you bring them in? You introduce this plot point that they're aliens and they're not like people in a different world or whatever. That's the issue I think is there. So do I agree with whether or not Amy or Rouge should have been in it? I think they should. I think at least Rouge should have been. But I have like loyalty to Amy for being like a classic character and being there from back in the day, where it's hard for me to say one or the other. I think it should be one at least. Now, I'm not ruling it out 100%, but bruv, it doesn't look like they're anywhere near this movie right now. So that's my honest opinion. Paramount will probably give them each their own series. Yeah, like I've already heard that they're trying to do a Tails thing. I don't know if they dropped that. They're definitely going to do a Shadow series. I've heard that as much. Thank you, Tails, for the subscription. See, it's like I'm supporting Tails and he subscribes to me. I think the issue with that is that if you're going to do side plots, much like Knuckles, then people are not going to be convinced to watch Shadow. If it's Shadow trying to figure out himself on Earth, it has to be like relevant to like the Sonic universe as a whole or Sonic games. So yeah, when you're preaching to like a general audience, it's going to be harder to introduce them into like core Sonic things. Trust me. And I think what Jeff Fowler is trying to do is balance that without tipping the scales too much in one direction. And I think that's a hard job to do, to be honest, if you're writing this. But they could have leaned into it a little bit more. I see the Mario movie and there's no limits to what they did there. They pigeonholed them into the human world, which is why I think there's a lot of issues here. So either the human world needs to be one and the same with like creatures that are running around, or you have a ton of aliens that are invading, much like Transformers. In every movie, you just take it with a stride and say, hey, here's some new ones. Have at it. But yeah, I think they're being very restrictive with new characters that come in. And that's just my opinion. Dr. Claw saying, love your work. Thank you so much. I know it's been a while since I've like been in front of the camera, man. I'm so like, I want to do more of these streams with you guys, and I'm just so busy, and just getting out content is hard. But here I am. All right, let's continue.
He's too powerful.
That's a great shot. Now everybody's talking about this scene where Tom is screaming, and people are wondering if they're gonna kill off Tom or if Shadow's gonna kill off Tom. They're not gonna have Shadow kill off Tom, bro. He might die from like some. If he dies in this movie and they're brave enough to do it, it's gonna be for some other reason. But if Shadow were to kill Tom, there'd be no going back for Shadow, in my opinion. They would have to cut that whole like spin-off series, or he would have to commit to being a full-time villain, which is not Shadow. So I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm seeing these murmurs on Twitter. That's not gonna happen, bruv. But is he safe? I'm pretty sure he is. But maybe at the end they finally go back to their original world. I don't think they have the balls to kill off Tom. If they do, and they do it in the right way, props to this team. But that's not gonna happen. People are overthinking some of this stuff. Great shot of Shadow there. Now he punches a hole into. He punches a black hole into. So this, I think this is like his supreme power. So much like Knuckles has the flame of disaster, I think Shadow has this like black void thing. I don't know if there's a similar power in the actual games. Like the chaos powers are a little bit different from this. Maybe this is a reference to Shadow the Hedgehog and I don't remember. But it looks like it punches a hole through time and space and it starts sucking things in, which is ridiculous upgrade to my dog Shadow here. I don't know where they are in this scene. It looks like they're in some type of dome, but this does not look like the Space Colony arc. Maybe this is on Prison Island or something. Black Doom, is a power in this universe? Maybe. Do you guys think? So if they make, I'll get to that at the end, actually. I'll save it for the end.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but we need you-know-who.
This is a bad idea.
When has that ever stopped me?
Yes, sir. That belly is in. Finally. I don't know if he's like full Eggman yet, to be honest. I thought he would go full Eggman in this trailer. But do you guys think this is full fat? Could we get an even fatter suit? Can we get a full Eggman? I'm curious. But it's interesting that Eggman did not, well, we know he didn't die in the last movie, but he's come back and now he's gone full Thor from Endgame and is depressed. I wonder if they're like really gonna lean into this. I wonder how they convince him to join them.
Doctor!
We have visitors.
This is sad, Robotnik. Even for you.
We need your help.
On one condition.
I like this vibe though. To be honest, I love Jim Carrey's interpretation of Eggman 100%. I didn't expect it to ever be one-to-one, but the way he's grown into the character, I want you guys to go back to the first movie and see how much this character has evolved just by watching this trailer. But from 1 to 2, and then this, it's amazing. Wow, Jim Carrey, you are a treasure. I love this. But we need a fatter suit for sure, which means maybe he is open to another movie where he goes full fat. We'll see.
What? Do this! If I can't rule the world, I might as well save it!
I wonder why the mustache didn't even grow out further.
I need room. But sir, I don't have the proper materials.
You know what's cool, actually? This looks like one of those little egg capsules that Eggman has in Sonic Frontiers, where he has like a little living place on the Starfall Island. So you see them kind of littered about, which shows that he set up like a ton of little camps. I'm not going to play this whole part again, but I just want to show you this.
This is a bad.
I can't believe believe I'm saying this, but we need you.
Oh, it's more of like an egg walker. Like it's like a crab thing. So I guess it's underground, underwater. So this is like a crab, egg crab or something. Crab, egg. What else would it be called? But egg crab, but let's say that. But I guess he's been hiding out underwater and then he surfaces. And the only person that knows he's down there is Agent Stone. And so that's probably why they find Agent Stone and then he summons Eggman from underneath the water because he's aware that he's still alive. So they're in some type of submarine at this point.
One condition.
Yeah, the Frieza ships. That's the thing. That's the Frieza ships. Why did I think of this? Cerulean. Thank you for that. Yeah, I was a little bit wrong. But it kind of reminds me of that. The way it was coming out the water here. Oh wait, no, this is still a Frieza ship. There you go. Yes. So this reminds me of the thing from Frontiers. He has little camps that he can set up. And that's probably where they're going to be hiding out in between scenes. All right, we're almost at the end.
I might as well save it. I need room.
But sir, I don't have the proper materials.
Found some.
All right, so we're confirmed for December. A lot of people were complaining on Twitter that December wasn't going to be a thing. They're going to delay it. What's the marketing? The marketing's been flubbed. I don't know if you guys are... I feel less and less relevant on Twitter these days. It's pretty wild. I feel like I missed my opportunity to get popular over there. If you're on Twitter, give me a follow. Because I feel pathetic over there sometimes.
When we're done, there won't be anything left.
Hey, no cheat code.
So we got Shadow on the bike, of course, reference to Shadow the Hedgehog.
There won't be anything left.
What do you guys think of Keanu's voice here? I actually think it fits. I think he actually did better than I thought he would. I just hope he doesn't phone it in. Like the lines that they have in the trailer are really good. Keanu's not one to phone it in sometimes, but sometimes his lines in Cyberpunk got a little samey, and he's doing the Johnny Silverhand's voice here, but sort of. I think it's a decent fit, but we'll see. Shadow on the bike though, great reference.
Hey, no cheat code.
What did you do?
All right, we got to stop there for a sec because we got the Chao Garden. So the Chao Garden seems to be, I guess most of this is taking place in Tokyo, which I guess that's a great change of pace, especially like going back to where the Sonic character was created. It probably wasn't Tokyo. It doesn't have to be Tokyo, but it was Japan. So it looks like they're having a meeting with the gun agent at what's called the Chao Garden, which seems to be a mascot park over there, or some type of cute little cafe. Now that means that the Chao do not exist as an actual race in this movie universe, or maybe they were inspired by a single Chao that's in that was found in the human world or something. We don't know this for a fact. I'm just speculating, but it looks like this is where Chao are gonna stay. Now, a lot of people were complaining about this. They were saying that Chao are so important in the world of Sonic. They got reduced to Five Nights at Freddy's characters over here. I would say let's not speak too soon. Maybe this is an inspiration from characters that already exist. I believe maybe Chao are referenced in that in-between comic between the Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. I don't want to say that for certain, but there's a whole universe out there. They can do whatever. If Chao really need to be in this universe, they'll make it happen because the universe is pretty expansive. They show that like there's so many planets out there. Zombie Souffle say I'm just happy they're there. Speaking of cheese, the Chao I want Cream, the rabbit, to be in Sonic Movie 4. Oh, there was like way too many commas in that. Okay, so I don't know if we're gonna get Cream anytime soon, man. The characters are leaking in pretty slowly as it stands, but this is a reference to cheese in the middle, and then these two are just like the sombrero hat is the maracas one from the Chao Garden, which I think is a good touch, and this is just another like type of Chao you can mutate. It looks like Eggman or somebody is going to attack them, which is a bit of a spoiler here if you're looking at these. So this can be Gun because the Gun Soldier is there. I don't think Shadow would use missiles. So who do you think is throwing missiles at them while they're meeting at the Chao Garden? Anyway, Nice touch, nice cameo. I can't wait to see this scene. I think it beats the whole bar scene, biker bar scene that was in the first one. At least if we're gonna do like a little funny scene like this, make it thematic. And so it looks like Chao Garden is gonna be a thing, and Japan's like the perfect place to have that setting.
What did you do? What I had to. I had to. What did you do? What I had to.
I feel like that's a throwaway line. Some people are like, oh, he definitely killed Tom, but I don't think Sonic would react that way. So just throwing that out there. Great scene. So I think that is probably going to be their second fight there, or maybe it's their part of their first fight, the end of it, where Sonic just like gets bodied. But I think that's a great segue into the title. They didn't do the Sonic Adventure 2 Moon thing, unfortunately. So, but there you have it, guys. Sonic 3, Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Welcome home, my boy.
It's impossible.
Is it?
It couldn't be.
Couldn't it?
Are
Are
you?
In the saggy flesh.
Now, Eggman says Pop Pop. Is this going to be his father or his grandfather? I think they're going to go with father. And the area that they're in seems to be some type of lab that's long since been abandoned. Now, it's interesting that he is alive. So this is the plot point that I think kind of bothers me the most. And I'll be honest with you guys about this. So it doesn't matter if this is his father or grandfather. In the Sonic lore, this is his grandfather, Gerald Robotnik. Now, if you want to do ages and like add that up, probably makes sense that it's his father. Now, if this is an abandoned lab somewhere. Maybe this is where Shadow was. Eggman has to go back there at some point. Now, I think that these two are going to be the major villains, along with Shadow being used against them. We all know that Eggman is going to betray Team Sonic for sure. Like, everyone's aware of this. If this doesn't happen, it's gonna totally shock me. But I think he's gonna meet his dad, and then together they're gonna be like, hey, we need to get revenge on these people because they did this and they killed your cousin Maria and yada yada yada. Now, why is he alive? I don't know. This is an interesting twist for me. But they will probably work together with Shadow, and that's probably gonna be the end game set of villains. Now, there's a great opportunity here for Sonic to face Shadow, Tails to take on Eggman, and one of his major robots to be a... Oh, we got a donation. Big Boss coming through with the $1 donation. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for always coming through. But my theory is that these three are going to work together. And now you have 3 enemies that 3 members of Sonic Team can take on. This, unfortunately, I think is going to be your Team Dark. Unfortunately, whatever you guys think of that. Tails might take on Eggman's robot, and then Knuckles might take on Gerald's robot, or however that's going to work. And then Sonic takes on Shadow at the end, and then he's reformed, and they have to come together and help stop these two. That's my theory on this. It's a very vague theory. I'm like 70% on that, but this is definitely a big twist for me. Now, the second thing is, it doesn't seem like Gerald created Shadow in this universe. If we go back to here, where Sonic references it as some type of alien on the loose, he says there's an alien on the loose.
All right, we got a rogue alien on the loose. How do we find it?
So it looks like Shadow came from a different planet. Now, that could be a setup for him being part of the Black Doom race of aliens. Or maybe they created him, and so they're going to go all out with that plot line, and then Gerald somehow found him. I would prefer the creation. You're created as the ultimate life form, but I feel like they're going to find him and see how his healing, regenerative properties were something that he wanted to use to save Maria from her disease. So maybe they're going to go that route instead. That's kind of my guess here. But I think that is pretty much every plot point that's in here unless I missed something.
Is it?
It couldn't be.
Couldn't it?
But I think this is gonna be the biggest deviance here for the plot line between this and Sonic Adventure 2.
Saggy flesh.
But overall, we get this in December 2024. I want to hear theories in the chat. Maybe Amy is created from Maria. I think that's going to be quite the stretch. I don't know if we're creating aliens yet. If they create Shadow, then maybe. It's Jolo. Welcome to the stream. I want Amy to be in it. I think like there's probably going to be an Amy cameo at the end. I would really love for this to be the capping of where Sonic is on Earth. I think all of them finally need to just go off on an adventure together. Whatever comes out of this adventure, they realize that the universe needs their help and maybe they go home. But then again, Green Hills feels like his home. So I don't know if they'll go with that plot line. They said there's going to be more movies after this, of course, and more spin-offs and all that stuff. And I think the reason why they take place on Earth is to save them costs for like animation overall. But I think these movies are starting to get costly for them. So I feel like if you just transfer from this into a fully animated universe in whatever space world at this point in time, that'd probably be a great like soft reboot for this series. Because I think people expected this to be like a cap for a trilogy, but that's my opinion. He's playing both Ivo and Gerald. Yes, so also, this is also Jim Carrey. I forgot to put this out. I thought this was obvious enough, but I didn't mention it earlier. Tails should have been put halfway into the first movie. I think so too, but I think they just wanted to establish it for general audiences. There was enough scrutiny with that movie as it stood. So imagine like redoing Sonic and Tails by the end. Well, they probably had to. I don't know what the original Tails model looked like. I heard that was a last minute decision after they restructured. Did I say Mario earlier? Sonic's face. After they restructured Sonic's face. So having Sonic and Tails probably was a lot for them in the first movie. Which actor is playing Gerald? Oh, somebody asked that. Gerald definitely created Shadow because at the end of the second movie, Project Shadow was in Robotnik's files. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it was a creation. I think Project Shadow was probably a project where he found an alien and he tried to use his regenerative properties or like his ultimate power to help people. And then things like the game go south. Now, the biggest thing here is I think there's going to be no Space Colony arc. I would want the Space Colony arc over Amy or Rouge or anybody. Like that needs to be there. And are we getting the Bio Lizard? And also in the background, they're playing Live and Learn. But is this the only version that we're going to get? I really want the original unadulterated Live and Learn in my movie. Please make this happen. I hope it's happening. I hope Crush 40 and their vocals remain. Just let it ride, man. People will love that shit. It needs to happen. They need to stop doing this thing where they're changing everything.
Welcome home, my boy.
So I think that's about it. I wanted to take a look at his badge and see like what this says, but it's blurred out, so I can't get much more from this. But overall, I think for the trailer, for what I expected, I think it doesn't give away a lot. Some people said it showed a lot, which if you're not a Sonic fan, you would probably think it showed a lot, but I don't think it showed a lot. I think this is obvious things that we know. Project Shadow's a thing. He breaks out. He loses Maria. I think maybe the death scene was probably a little much. Maybe they didn't have to show that. But then them going to Tokyo, they get bodied. Then they have to work with Eggman. Okay, maybe that's a lot too. Like we could cut out that plot point. This probably would have been a bigger twist for people than anything else. Because if you're comparing it to Sonic Adventure 2, this team never worked with Eggman until the very end. So it's not a huge surprise, but they had to show him in some type of way. And this is probably the first appearance of Jim Carrey in this. But so how else do you introduce him in the trailer? So they probably had to go with that route. They couldn't avoid it. And then outside of that, like you see like a couple shots of him on the bike and stuff. So I think that there's a lot more to this film than people actually realize. Maybe they did show a lot, but this definitely got people hype. So I'm fully on board with this film. I will be watching. I hope you guys will be watching too. And then we'll do a video together and talk about how great it was. Did you know the Japanese name is Sonic Shadow Tokyo Mission? Yeah, I know. Like movie names, movie titles are so odd to me in Japan. Like I'm wondering like Sonic and Shadow Tokyo Mission. I don't know, like Japanese, not Japanese films, but like movies that go over from here to Japan are like so specific sometimes with their titling. And I know they do it on purpose. They probably have like marketers out there that understand it more than I do. But why not just Sonic 3? I don't know. Maybe they're not about the maybe each movie needs an individual title to satisfy them. They can't just have like Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It needs to like, what are the stakes? What is the subtitle here? You know what I mean?